Real Nerds is a proud partner of the Denver Podcast Network. In the shadow of the mountains, we speak.
You're listening to Denver Orbit, featuring voices.
I'm going to give you an awkwardly long and uncomfortable list of reasons why you shouldn't shave outside.
Stories.
Now, he was very outspoken about the effects of war on himself.
And music from Colorado's creative community. Listen at denverorbit.com or on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, or most other podcast apps.
Oh, hi, podcast listeners. There's many ways you can listen to the Real Nerds podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes. You can also subscribe on Stitcher Radio. You want to send us a Twitter message? You can do that. It's so easy, at Real Nerds. Like us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You can visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com, where there'll be a lot of articles for you to not only read, but to listen to our previous shows. You can also call us, 720-6nerds5. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Brian. No, this is my announcer voice, and you're listening to Real Nerds Podcast. Should I do this as my real self? Oh, shucky darn. Hi, this is Brian Cummings. You're listening to Real Nerds Podcast. Okay, do it straight. Hi, this is Brian Cummings, and actually you are listening to Real Nerds Podcast. Send money and real estate.
Welcome to Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast at Denver Pop Culture Con. I am Ryan, and the only other person with me today is Brad.
It's just you and me, man.
It's all right. It's like the old days.
Yeah.
Where we're living the dream, just you and I.
Remember in the old days we used to podcast from restaurants?
Yeah. Yeah, we are today. We're, what's this one called? Pint's Pub?
Yep.
Pint's Pub in downtown Denver. It's right in front of me. But I want to make sure I give Brad the attention he deserves by, him being my guest and sitting across from me. And the reason we're down here today is we are at Dink Denver, which is Denver's independent Comic-Con, basically. A lot of local artists, and we were able to reconnect with our buddy Zach Howard, and you might know him as the artist on The Cape and The Wild Blue Yonder. Great artist, did some awesome Spider-Man covers, and also did some Ninja Turtle ones.
I know, I bought one of his Ninja Turtle books today, number 69.
But he's a cool artist. Like that one's sweet, where all the Ninja Turtles are jumping off like a rooftop. Looks good. So yeah, and we also met our buddy Jesse from Eighth Wonder Press. Our buddy Ian was also there. Ran into a lot of people.
Dan Crozier and Elise Sargent, they've been on the show before. They had a booth. Yeah.
Lots of fun. Brad, you got a Better Burger is what it called?
Like a Beta Burger with, like, instead of two T's, two D's. Yeah, it's
looks like Canadian bacon and blue cheese.
Nope, not blue cheese. I didn't subject you to that. It's shoot, I think it's just Havarti. So, yeah.
Nice.
Is there ketchup over there?
There is ketchup over here. Let me hand that to you.
I don't know if this is supposed to have ketchup or not. I apologize if anyone's cringing on the listening to this right now. But, yeah, so we did Dink today, and James and Zach are out of town.
Yep.
So we decided, let's do the show from downtown at the con. But the con's really busy. And I was hungry, so here we are at Pint's Pub, which is a great English pub nearby that I haven't been to in a while.
Make sure you shake that ketchup. You're going to get nothing but
that is
juice.
Tomato juice all over my Canadian bacon right now. So, yeah, we're going to do that in the regular show today.
Yeah, we also talk every week on Real Nerds Podcast. We see a new movie, and we podcast our experience of the world. This week, we saw Hellboy, the rebooted Hellboy. Stay tuned to the end of the show, where we will tell you if you should see the movie or not, and then spoil the film as well. Let's talk about movie news, movies that are coming out on Blu-ray, and movies we watched throughout the week. Anything else new happening, Brad?
I don't think so. I think we should just jump into it.
Cool. Here we're going around town with Brad.
Hey, film buddies, follow me around Denver.
So this week it's the drive-in again, and the lineup's the same: Captain America, Captain Marvel, or Captain America, Shazam, Captain Marvel, and Isn't It Romantic at the 88 drive-in. So check that out. It's a fun lineup. And actually, while we're going around town, we should remind people that May 8th we have a live show.
Is it May 8th?
6th?
There we go.
Wow. I keep looking at the poster in my head, and I guess the 6 is an 8 now.
Yeah, so we'll be there live. We'll have some fun and games to play. We'll talk about the genesis of the podcast. It should be lots of fun. It's at the Bug Theater.
Some guests.
Possibly some guests. It's at the Bug Theater. Admission is free, but make sure you buy some concessions to support the Bug.
Yeah.
And it should be a good time.
Buy a beer. Buy some Twizzlers.
Beer and Twizzlers. I think that's a
Is that
perfect
the cool kids
combination.
drink?
Well, you could bite the top off and the bottom off the Twizzler and use it as a straw to suck your beer up.
I wonder what that's like.
We'll call it a Twiz beer.
Strawberry?
Strawberry? Ooh. See, you just come to us and we give you gold. It's like...
I should tell Ryan at the Cutting Room Floor Brewery to mix strawberry Twizzlers and, I don't know, an IPA. See how that works out. Because he usually does stuff like that.
And just be like, do it.
He made a Fireball brew for the John Claude Van Damme Stand-Man.
Yeah, what it tastes like.
Like a Fireball that was sitting in a bottle of beer.
So cinnamony beer.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Well, thanks, Brad. I don't think we have
Yeah, that's what's going on right now.
a Corinne one today.
Yeah, I don't think she sent it to us
Thank you.
yet.
Our server's doing a great job, and we requested this table totally out of the way so we could do this. And she's like, I guess. Actually, she was super nice about it, and she's checking on us.
Yeah, we're the worst.
Yeah, we are the worst. But the people like next to us, you didn't hear him, but the dude was like, so it's always my fault, huh? Well, let me tell you something. We're going to go there, and I'm going to go there with you. It's really weird. They're having like this really quiet argument about how he gets treated by his girlfriend.
Were we, like, privy to a possible breakup? Is that,
I don't know.
is that
Maybe
what that was?
Maybe
or, like,
we're,
they broke up and they were trying to get back together?
I don't know. I got really uncomfortable because it's a weird conversation to have in a restaurant.
Yeah, I'm glad we moved.
And literally, we weren't even like separated
visiting
by a
them,
wall.
yeah.
We were sitting. It's like we were at the same table with them.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird.
But we're here now. We're in a totally alone space
Yep.
up on the second floor that I've never been into before. So
Yeah, we got a great lookout. We got the wonderful British Isle flag looking at us.
I was telling you earlier, I feel like I'm in an Edgar Wright movie.
And I concur because, you know, it's like we went to the con, got our things, now we're here, and I'm just waiting for some end of the world apocalypse to happen.
This really is like the world's end
It
pub.
really is. That is a good choice, yeah.
Or maybe the first post.
Yeah, because it's definitely not the Winchester. It's too bright. The Winchester is more of like dark wood up in it. So, but it's a good place to come down here. Like the wings are really good and the service is they're really nice. So you know what? I'm going to check real fast to make sure Corinne didn't send us something because I'd feel like a jerk if she did, and then I didn't mention it. That's negative.
Oh, looks like Corinne has a Catching the Classics after all.
Hey nerds, Corinne here for part 19 of Catching the Classics, where I watch famous and popular movies I've never seen before and send in my review. This week, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Dun 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 dun. I don't know. So let me just say right off the bat, I have not seen the first Terminator. I haven't seen any of them except for Terminator Salvation for some weird reason. I think my family was going to see it and I got dragged along for some reason. I don't remember much from it other than Christian Bale and Sam Worthington are in it. Yeah, that's really all I remember about that movie. But I just kind of knew about this movie though, just from, you know, everything in like social media and pop culture. And so, like, I knew Arnold Schwarzenegger was the Terminator, but I knew he was the good guy in this movie, whereas he's the bad guy in the first movie where he's coming after Sarah Connor. So, like, the whole reveal, because that first... spoilers, everybody. The first part of the movie, it kind of presents it to you a little bit ambiguously of whether Arnold Schwarzenegger is, like, the bad Terminator or if he's the good guy, because... I mean, I assume that based on, you know, everyone's experience from the first movie, that people would automatically think that Arnold Schwarzenegger was the bad guy and the other Terminator, I think it was T-1000 or something. Anyway, that the one who's like dressed like the police officer the whole time, that they would assume that he's the good guy, and then of course it flips the expectation on you, and it turns out that no, actually Arnold Schwarzenegger is the good guy in this movie, and the other one is the bad guy. So yeah, I knew about that. I knew that it ended with his character, quote, dying or being terminated in the pool of molten lava or whatever that was. Really, really hot metal. Yeah, knew Sarah Connor was in the mental institution and everything. So, I really just knew too much about this movie, and so how did I feel about it? Honestly, it felt really long to me. I don't know. I felt like some of the action scenes just dragged on and on and on and on. Especially the last one, because it's like they run away from the building and they're in the van, and then they get out, and then they're in the truck, and then they get out, and then they're in the molten lava factory or whatever it is. They're in the metalworks factory, and then they're running around, and he gets hit with a thing, and then he gets back up, and she shoots the one dude, and and it's like, oh my gosh, it just never freaking ended, I felt like. One thing I think not the best part of the movie, but what I really appreciated is I think they gave you enough that if you hadn't seen the first Terminator, you got the gist of what was going on, and it wasn't like too much exposition or too little. It was like just right, just in like this Goldilocks zone of you felt like you knew what had happened previously, like you got a good idea of, the fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger, or like a Terminator that looked just like him, had come back before and like tried to kill Sarah, and the whole thing with her and Kyle Reese, and the whole Cyberdyne, Skynet, and the world ending, and yeah. Also, man, they really love shots of little kids getting blown up on playgrounds, don't they? I think that there was like 3 different little sequences in the movie where a playground is either blown up or is already destroyed. What is it with kids and like blown up playgrounds and stuff? Anyway, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger gave a great performance. I mean, he's just kind of like stoic. Like he really does feel like a robot for the movie, but you also kind of see a little bit of like personality starting to come through, and the whole, I know now why you cry, but it's something I could never do. And like when he was like, hasta la vista, baby, and yeah. The kid, I mean, whatever. I didn't feel like he was great, but it wasn't like shitty either. Don't remember the lady who plays Sarah, but I thought she did a good job. So, yeah, I think the biggest thing, the thing that I hated the most about it was that it felt so long. And I think I might have watched like the special edition or something. I don't know. A friend lent me the DVD, so that's what I watched. I didn't watch it on like Netflix or anything, but I did like the kind of second act where you started to see John Connor connect with the Terminator and kind of, fill this kind of role of like therapist, guardian, sort of father figure kind of thing. And like those two sort of bonding where he's teaching him how to be human, and so I like that part. It kind of felt a little bit like Iron Giant to me, but whatever. Of course it did. Yeah. Sorry, it's me, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, the action sequences felt so long, and the effects held up pretty well. I'll say that. Forget the guy who plays Miles Dyson, but thought he did a good job too. Also, that family got over the whole, like, fact that she shot him and tried to kill him in his own home in front of his family thing really fast. Just saying. So, I'll give Terminator 2 3.5 stars. I don't know. Sorry. If you want to do the full star system, round it up to 4, I guess. I would probably watch it again, but I don't know. Maybe I wasn't just in the right frame of mind, because I just felt like it was very long, like 2.5 hours, which is pretty long for a action movie, I feel like. So I'm thinking next week I'm gonna watch Night of the Living Dead. Maybe. Probably. I have to see if anything's falling off of Netflix, but I'm thinking Night of the Living Dead will probably be the go-to. So, talk to you all later, and hope you had fun at whatever movie you saw this week. Bye!
All right, well.
But yeah. So,
what's next?
We are going to talk about movies that are coming out on Blu-ray and Ultra 4K that maybe you want to purchase.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
Oh, I do. I want to purchase.
I did read an article on the Digital Bits where it's talking about that Blu-ray sales are down, or I guess just home video sales in general are down 50% than they were in 2014. And it still generates something like $15 billion a year, which is a lot of money. But when you start doing half as much as you used to, it's going to make people notice. I will say this at the same time, though, but studios also haven't given us like a super cool reason to purchase them besides owning them. I mean, the Marvel doesn't do the one shot anymore, and Kevin Feige said it's because they're too busy with their studio.
Their main stuff good.
And I mean, I get it, especially when we get to news. We'll talk about other stuff, but I mean, it's probably not going to go anywhere, but it might start being a niche market, like vinyl or something.
Yeah, we'll probably just see a bunch of like indie companies doing physical media soon.
Yep.
But
as long as I can still get it, I don't care.
If they want 4K to take off, they really need to invest in their catalog titles.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's,
because,
the
I mean,
new stuff's going to come
Lionsgate does. I mean, Lionsgate puts out the weirdest 4K movies.
Yeah. I'm blown away. Like, Star Trek is, like, historically, like, fans keep coming back to buy it. Or I guess they're not because, but they've invested almost no money in upgrading that, even on Blu-ray.
Yeah. That's kind of weird, though, because that seems like a group that would. I mean, just like Star Wars or something,
Yeah, like there's always fans there. But, if they didn't invest in Blu-ray, they probably won't. Like, I'm not going to buy more Blu-rays. If I'm going to do that again, I'm going to go to 4K. So they
I haven't seen any 4K TV shows yet, though. Are you talking about the movies?
The movies.
They might eventually.
Actually, like, Discovery's probably shot in 4K.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it is.
They downgraded to stream it.
Oh, I'm sure it's shot in 4K and then put up into 2K. Anyways, this is what's coming out. Speaking of 4K, Karate Kid is coming out in 4K, which would be fun. I don't own that yet, so maybe I'll get the 4K version. M. Night Shyamalan's Glass is coming out.
Will not be buying that.
I will never buy that film. Every time Shyamalan makes a movie, I'm like, okay, I think Split's enjoyable. But then you see Glass and you go, oh. So basically you're doing exactly what you did in Lady in the Water, where you're calling your audience stupid. And, I think you did the same thing, because you went to the Shyamalan-a-thon. I think that's what it's called, at the Alamo. Mm-hmm. And I actually just watched them at home. I watched Unbreakable and then Split, and then I went and saw Glass. And you can see the trajectory or the free fall from his films. It's like you spend... you want to pick up my phone for me? I just threw it at you. He spends so much of his films, like, reiterating that you're dumb if you believe this, and he spent 2 films, and we know what's happening is true.
Yeah, in the Q&A, he acknowledged that he had fallen from grace, I guess.
Mm.
He's climbing his way back, and he's really just kind of into doing the indie Split-style stuff. Glass on a tiny budget. But his other thing was, like, it feels like Glass feels like a guy who likes comic books but doesn't read them.
Yeah, I agree
100%.
That's exactly what it is.
And like his main focus is, like he said, with every movie he makes, it's all about like something about the mind, because his wife's a psychologist or a psychiatrist or something.
He should be a better writer then. Maybe he should have his wife take a pass at the screenplay. Also, Hard Ticket to Hawaii is coming out, with a dude wearing a baseball hat, wiping his brow with 2 hot chicks with a gun in his hand.
Have you seen it before?
No.
The clip, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to watch the Alamo. Like this guy throws a frisbee at some dude.
I have seen that's from that movie?
Yeah. And like cuts his fingers off with it. Yeah.
That's like, where have I seen that? That's used a lot as maybe on Conan O'Brien I've seen it. I don't know.
I think it was one of those like don't talk no text.
Oh yeah, it
Alamo
definitely
things.
was.
Yeah.
From Scream Factory, Superstition is coming out, which I've never seen. The cover is sweet. It looks like Death holding a dead body. Death as dressed up as a cloak. The Grim Reaper. Justice League versus the Fatal Five is the new DC animated movie that is coming out. And I read a review of that. They say it's pretty good. Criterion is releasing Diamonds of the Night. The Kid Would Be King is coming out on 4K and Blu-ray, which I actually kind of enjoyed the film. I think I was the only one who saw it. It's a cute little fantasy movie for kids. Universal is digging into the well, and they're releasing House Sitter with Steve Martin and Goldie Hawn. There's a film coming out called Supercock, and on it there's a cartoon rooster that looks like the rooster from Family Guy, but he has boxing gloves on.
Oh, I thought he would have a cape.
It's from 1975. I actually like so they have Supercock is the name of the movie, but underneath it says Foul Play, Bet to Kill. But foul is spelled F-O-W-L.
No, I get it.
So I kind of like it. It's rated PG, though.
Oh, so it's not edgy at all.
No.
There'll be no cock jokes in it.
Yeah, it doesn't even have a synopsis for it, so I couldn't tell you what Supercock is about. Sorry, Brad. I know you're disappointed.
Sad.
And that's pretty much all that's coming out on Blu-ray. And now it's time for Real News.
It's real news.
Couple big things this week. I don't know if you know there's this thing of films called the Star Wars. And they went ahead and released the new trailer for the Star Wars. Here's a trailer for Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker.
We've passed on all we know. 1,000 generations live in you now. But this is your fight.
Pretty dope trailer.
Yeah, I'm in.
For like a movie that's still 8 months away, and just giving you a little taste.
I heard this is the latest in the life cycle that we've been given anything about.
Oh
Star
yeah,
Wars movies.
it has to be. I bet it's a lot like the Marvel movies now, where characters are only given the scenes that they're in, and they're given a general idea of what the film is happening. And I always thought it was amazing when spoilers for Avengers or Star Wars aren't spoiled by special effects people. I wonder if there's a huge, no disclosure thing, and if you release anything, you get sued big time.
Yeah, probably.
But it's awesome. It opens. I love the character of Rey.
Such a badass jump.
So the jump at the beginning where she's like baiting the TIE fighter to come after her is sweet. Then you get glimpses of...
Which I think might be Kylo's custom TIE fighter.
It might be.
Which I think makes me think that might be part of the finale of the movie.
Maybe. Because
she's alone and like he's just constantly tracking her.
There's also that sweet shot of him repairing his helmet with the red hologram.
It's not him. Did you look at his hands?
Oh, no, I didn't see
They're
it.
furry.
Really?
Yeah, so it's probably like some alien minion he's got. But
sweet.
Yeah, I thought it, like, I was frame by frame watching. I was like, wait a minute. Either he's like wearing a furry coat, or because he wouldn't have black fingers either. But
but they have a sweet shot of the Death Star in the ocean,
parts of the Death Star. Which I guess there were other Death Stars, because why would a piece that big not be on Endor or Tatooine?
But where did they blow it up at the end of Return? Was it Endor?
Endor, yeah.
I mean, I guess there could still be a C and N on the planet of Endor.
That's true. And never because we're so used to sci-fi planets always being one environment.
Yeah, but I mean, it'd have to have water because there's trees and everything.
Yeah, I guess it could be Endor.
Yeah, so I mean,
it'd make the most sense.
It's fun, and then I mean, the big reveal is Palpatine is laughing at the end, which I don't care.
I don't think he's going to be in it. I think he's probably a Force ghost, just like Mark Hamill or Luke.
Yeah, it could be somebody. I mean, he could just be a ghost, because I mean, obviously,
or flashback, I
or
guess.
a flashback, or maybe he lived, because I mean, all we know is he was thrown down by Vader.
Plasma fire,
yeah. So you never. I mean, who knows? Maybe he levitated
and then got blown up when he was on the Death Star.
Yeah, or maybe he got out. You never know. Because I mean, if he's that powerful,
but also he's just been hanging out, not doing anything for 30 years.
Yeah, and remember too, though, he was trained by Darth Plagueis, who learned how to cheat death.
I don't remember that being in any of the trilogies.
Well, he says that when he's talking to Anakin, when Anakin they're at something in Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, the opera or something?
Yeah, the opera, and he says, he had a way of cheating death too.
Oh, that's right.
So maybe he knows a way to do it. Be interesting. Yeah. Maybe he can turn himself into a bolt of lightning, like Thor.
So we've got body possession in Star Wars now.
Why not?
It's true. I guess if Leia can float away from debris and survive. But yeah, I'm on board. There's something else theory-wise. Oh, the title, the Rise is a weird way to, I don't know, title a finale when something's starting.
It is, but I was thinking, and this just me thinking off the top of my head, and it could be totally wrong, but now that there's really no more Jedi, it's only Rey, and she took the books with her, and then the Sith is really just Kylo, because Snoke is dead, even though he really wasn't a Sith, I guess. But
I guess all Sith have a Darth name, so
yeah. So I'm thinking that maybe instead of Jedis and Sith, it's going to be Skywalker is the new name of Jedi.
Yeah, because in the end of the last movie teases anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Not late. Well, I guess the prequels there were Jedis that weren't Skywalkers, but it does seem like it's a. Actually, I was going to say this too. I feel like they might be taking a page out of The Dark Knight Rises, where it's it's going to be about an ideal and a symbol called Skywalker, like Batman is at the end of that movie.
See, that's what I'm thinking, because I mean, what Skywalker is going to rise?
Unless Leia survives.
Leia, or if we find out that maybe Rey really is a Skywalker.
Which I feel like would be lame at this point. Psych. It really was the whole time. Seemed kind of lame.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, what's cool about if you read Rian Johnson, they asked him if he'd be bothered if it got retconned what he did. He said no. He said each movie's its own. If he can tell a story, it's about telling the story. So I'm interested to see. I mean, I'm on board. I mean, I was on board before they released the trailer, obviously, but I knew it was going to be good.
I guess, too, also because the Phantom Menace introduces the idea that Anakin was a virgin birth.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Rey is, too.
Yeah.
So she is a Skywalker, but
there is a comic that came out and they explain Anakin's birth, that he's not a miracle birth. He was put in there by Darth Sidious. I can't remember, but the Star Wars comics are canon now, and it's a real thing because it's in the Darth Vader one. So I forget the actual explanation. So yeah, no, I'm on board.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Be awesome. Also this week, Disney announced its plans for Disney Plus, their new streaming service.
$6.99 a month.
That's super cheap. And, I mean, or you can buy a full year for $70. So you don't have to pay it monthly. If you do the monthly, it's $7 a month or $70 for the whole month. Which they have a lot of things open. They're going to put all 30 seasons of The Simpsons available right away. I remember that was a big thing. Like, what are they going to do with The Simpsons? And
I forgot. Was there a Fox app?
I don't know.
Because I know they did that for their thing, but I'm like, I can't even name a Fox streaming app.
No.
Unless it was just through the website.
So that'd be sweet because I hope they do, Family Guy and all that other stuff where it's in one spot. I'm always going to own the physical copies of them as well because you never know if they're going to take them off.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of cool, and the price is so cheap. And they're announcing so many different shows, like 4 or 5 Marvel shows.
Like 2 Star Wars shows?
2 Star Wars shows. A couple, The Sandlot is getting a show. So I think they're hitting on the right... we're doing awesome, thank you. They're hitting on the right chord, I think, between nostalgia and new stuff, where eventually I guess they're going to have their whole library available. Which, the only thing that scares me is are they going to make it where they're not going to make physical stuff anymore and you have to watch their stuff, you have to get their streaming service. I don't think they will, because I think Disney realizes that they always want to have that.
And it would be kind of insulting to the creators who spend so much time mastering things for the theater.
Mm-hmm. Because now the scuttlebutt right now is that before Rise of Skywalker comes out, as all the movies are going to be on 4K. And it's the original films because they didn't want to go back and remaster the special editions.
How much would that suck if they finally released the original, like, unedited trilogy in 4K, but it's only available online?
Oh, I'd cry.
That'd just be like the biggest slap in the face.
I don't think they will. I know Disney lately on their animated films, so the Walt Disney Signature Collection, they carry over all the special features that were on the Diamond ones, but they only make some of them available digitally, which is fine because as long as they have the commentaries and the storyboards and stuff on the discs, then that's fine. I don't care about, like, go behind the scenes with the voice of Ariel to see how she sings. I don't care about those special features. I'm more interested in the making of it. Mm-hmm. And I thought the new trailer for The Lion King was amazing. The animals look incredible.
They look incredible, but I also think something's...
Hello?
I think my thing cut out for a second.
Oh, okay.
I think there's something lost because it's, like, too real.
Mm.
Hello? 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 It just looks like real animals in a movie, which, when you put it side by side with, like, the animated version, like, they feel like characters.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's what you lose. You lose it when you do hand-drawn stuff anyways. I think hand-drawn to 3D, no matter how great the 3D animation looks, there's something lost. Personally, that's how I believe.
So, yeah, I mean, it looks beautiful, but also, like, how engaged am I going to be when I can't, like... Because, when you do the animated version, like, they have the big eyes, and people are drawn into the eyes, and these are real animal eyes, so there's kind of, like, there's still, like, disconnect like you're at a zoo or something.
Mm-hmm. I know, it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
It looks better than Aladdin, so I'm down. I think that's it for news. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, that's good. That's good for this week.
All right, cool. This is what we've been watching.
So, this is the stuff we've been watching.
What'd you watch this week, Brad?
Well, I should have got my list before you asked me that.
I'll go first.
Yeah, you do that.
I watched just one Cary Grant movie this week. It's an early one. It's called The Amazing Adventure, and its first name was The Amazing Quest of Ernest Bliss. And in it, Cary Grant plays a wealthy guy who doesn't do anything, and his doctor says that you don't appreciate life, and I bet you can't live on $5 a week, and if you do, then I'll give you $50,000 if you do that for 1 year. So Cary Grant says, I'll take you up on that bet, and he's having trouble finding a job. And after a couple weeks, he finally finds a job at this selling ovens, and the guy takes a chance on him even though he's never sold anything in his life. And he soon finds out that they're not going to stay in business because he can't sell any of these stoves. And part of the deal is to win the bet, he couldn't use any of the money for himself. So instead, he went back to his bank and he took money out and he bought a launch for these stoves, like cook food on these stoves. And some guy comes in and says, well, I'll buy 100 of those stoves from you for wholesale. And then when Cary Grant's about to get his commission check, he refuses it and says, no, I can't do that because he wants to win this $50,000 bet. And so the film follows him as he goes to different, working class jobs where he learns the value of a dollar and how people struggle. And he slowly learns that these people are being taken advantage of by the rich people. And so he buys like a taxi cab service, and he fires the mean manager there because he doesn't give a break to the hardworking scraps.
Louis De Palma, did you fire him? Too early.
And he so he put the one guy in charge. He was, the good guy there. And at the end of the film, he doesn't take the money because he ended it 3 days early. And the doctor says, you don't have to pay me either because you learned a lesson that, money can't buy you everything, and treating people right buys you everything. And he ends up marrying the secretary from the oven sales thing. And it's a pretty good movie. Every time I watch an old movie like that, I go back and do research about it. And evidently, I got the DVD, which I got for $2 from Amazon, which thank God, because it said it was digitally remastered and is maybe the worst transfer I've ever seen of a movie. And I know it's DVD, but like the Warner Archive stuff looks great. This was awful. It's Echo Bridge. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Nope.
They're a horrible company. Every once in a while they get horror films like Hellraiser 5. And anyway, so it says digitally remastered. It looks horrible. But I also found it was 20 minutes longer. That's been lost, and no one knows where this 20 minutes have gone. And watching the film, I'm like, yeah, it seems there'd be weird scenes where Cary Grant was at a party and he was talking to somebody, and then it would cut, and let's say he was at the left of the table, it'd like cut, and he'd be in the middle of everybody, like a guest. So he magically moved in. So there was a cut there, and the camera never changed position, except Cary Grant was no longer talking at the left side of the table. He was now like on the right side of the table having conversation with somebody else. And then it had random weird cutaways where it'd be like Cary Grant was driving a taxi cab at one point, and then it fades away, and then it fades back to a different scene in middle conversations. It's really bizarre. So I guess they couldn't find this footage, so now it's only 62 minutes long. Still a fun movie. It's all right. I also watched friend of the podcast, Jeffrey Reddick, released a new film he was a writer and producer for called The Final Wish. In it, this kid's dad passes away and he goes back to his mom's house. His mom's played by Lynn Shay. And it turns out he's supposed to be some big shot lawyer guy, which everyone resents him for now. And, it's all right. It's kind of violent, and basically it deals with a jinn, so a genie who's evil, who wants his soul. And I always thought when someone, like one of those guys, takes his soul, what does that even mean? Do you die? You know what I mean? Like
I feel like you could survive without a soul.
Exactly. So who cares? Why don't you just be a bad dude? And so he grants wishes, and it follows him as he slowly learns what's going on. It's okay. It picks up about 40 minutes into the movie when they start getting into the mythology and people start dying in horrible ways. But the lead actress in it is so awful that every scene she's in, it really takes you out of the movie because she can't read a line. And so we go, wow. Everybody else in the movie is really good, but when she reads a line, it like brings it to a screeching halt. So yeah, if you're looking for a movie that's kind of creepy, a little different, I recommend it. It's not his best movie, but it's not really his fault. He's just the writer. He has a small part as a landlord in it too. It's kind of funny. But I've always liked Jeffrey Reddick because he sat down for an hour interview with us when we were nobodies at Mile High Horror 8 years ago.
Well, we're still nobodies, but
we're somebody. See all the people that knew us today. So yeah, that's an all right one. I watched Crocodile Hunter Collision Course with my little boy. My little boy loves Steve Irwin. He watched a couple of his documentaries that were on Animal Planet.
I assume you have that on DVD?
A DVD, yeah.
Because I saw that. I was like, where's that streaming?
Yeah, no, it's not streaming anywhere. It'd be sweet if they put it on Blu-ray because that transfer, too, isn't very good on the DVD. But the movie's lots of fun.
That came out like the same time as like the
2002?
from Justin DeKelly. And
yeah.
like, what was it? The the real Cancun.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck. Forgot that movie existed. But yeah, it's a fun movie because so all the stuff. So it's about a satellite, the United States satellite that crashes in the Australian outback, and a crocodile eats it. And so the CIA is trying to retrieve it, and all that stuff with them is shot in widescreen and like slick, and all the stuff with Steve Irwin is shot in 4:3, so it looks like a documentary. And they play it where Steve Irwin's playing it straight, but
all the other side characters are
like so they're looking for this satellite beacon, and Steve Irwin thinks they're poachers, and so he breaks a fourth wall and says, the only thing I hate more is poachers, and so he fights the poachers and stuff like that, and he has a hero theme. It's pretty fun. So it's silly, but it's a really fun film. And the last thing I watched was I've been watching Family Guy from the beginning, and you can read about it on our website. It's called Ryan's Ultimate Freaking Sweet Review of Every Episode of Family Guy, and I've been through the first 6. And there's 2 articles posted right now. Read about Family Guy, because my wife hates Family Guy, and she always accuses me of buying something and just sitting it on my shelf. So lately, to get back at her, to like my Scream Factory stuff, I decided I'm going to go back and rewatch everything. And she hates Family Guy so much that this is just like sweet victory for me.
Nice.
And this is what I watched this week. Brad?
Talk longer.
Well, Brad continues to enjoy his burger. Remember, you can like us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. We'll be at Denver Pop Culture Con. Stop by our booth. We do have some sweet merchandise, T-shirts, and pint glasses that we got today. They look amazing. So great job, Brad, in designing those.
And we have a live show there, too.
And we'll do a live show there as well. We're going to be celebrating everything that's great about 1989. And what'd you watch this week, Brad?
All right. You can finally eat your wings. This week, a couple things. I watched in the theater Blood Lake, which is an AGFA restoration of a really bad movie. So it starts out pretty good. Like, it looks like it's shot on home VHS. And then, there's this guy who lives at a lake, and then his neighbor, I assume his neighbor, in the opening scene, just stabs him with a really, scary knife. I'm like, sweet, this is going to be awesome. And then what felt like the next hour and a half is just some teens coming to a lake house that they must own, and they just hang out, all weekend. And you're just waiting for something bad to happen. And then finally I was like, I can't wait anymore. I have to go to the bathroom. And as soon as I came back, all the slashing happened. So, it turns out...
You didn't miss any of the slashing.
Huh?
You didn't miss any of it when you came back, it started?
I missed most of it.
Oh, bummer.
The slasher, which is a ghost, which actually just a guy in a cowboy hat walking around.
As they tend to be.
Yeah. Has killed about half of the teens, and then ties up the rest of them in the shed. And then he didn't get one of them, so he shows up in the shed and fights him. And
nice.
But he's already stabbed the one girl, and the little kid that's there is just hanging around screaming. And the ambulance comes and they usher the girl into it, and they drive away. And then the sheriff, who's also just a dude in a button-down shirt and a cowboy hat, but no badge.
Uniform standards are high in this town.
Not even tan or black. It's paisley and stuff. Straight out of the 90s. And everyone's a bad actor. It almost seems like the filmmaker was really into filmmaking, but he could only get his friends that he knew that he normally just hangs out with, and they were just happening to be going on vacation. And he's like, I'm going to tag along to make a movie out of this. And so it's just scenes of people stocking the refrigerator for the weekend, or sitting on the there's a pier behind the house for the boats, everything next to the lake, and they're just fishing. Then they smoke weed in the house and
cool.
Play a drinking game, and it's this. The drinking game is one long wide shot of the circular table in the center and everyone around it, and that goes on. That whole conversation
sounds like he's a great stager of shots too.
No. So yeah, that was kind of disappointing. And the part that before I went away, two of the friends in the group were like out on the pier at night, and then that's when the first slashing happened. And the one guy, his one friend just immediately sees him and jumps into the lake and starts swimming away, and his friend just stands there, kind of paralyzed with fear. And then in this wide shot, he's just like, it's almost like the director said, "Now fall in the lake," and so you see him like stage like fake trip and fall to his side, and then the slasher just like holds his head down underwater for a bit.
Love it.
And then it just cuts to him being like already pulled up on the pier and like dead with like a knife in his back. Yeah, it's pretty lame.
Don't have money to film the death scene, but we're gonna imply it happened.
Yeah, it's always cut back to yeah. And then I watched 2 Jason Statham movies.
Sweet, which ones?
Cellular.
Yep.
You watched that one? You watched all of them.
Oh,
right?
yeah, I watched all of them.
Yeah.
That's a product of the early 2000s.
Yeah, I watched that one because How'd This Get Made did episode on it. And
Hey, Chris Evans, I need to know if you have a cell phone plan.
yeah, that's pretty funny. And then William H. Macy's character in it is like this cop who's trying to start a spa.
It's really weird, right?
He's like sort of like disgruntled. Like he's kind of done with being a cop. Like
That's right, guy.
He's
that movie in a
going
while,
to retire,
yeah.
but he's kind of has that attitude of like,
Yeah.
once I'm done here, I'm going to go start this spa. And everyone gives him shit about it. like, what is it?
That's right.
You're
And
gonna
does he
start
have
your beauty
pamphlets
salon?
too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like trying to sell them like, this is what I'm going to do. It's pretty cool. And they're like, good luck at your beauty salon. And he gets like all indignant, like, it's a spa. Yeah. And Statham's like, the henchman really, and Kim Basinger is trapped in the attic because her husband's like part of something. And they've trapped her, kidnapped her kid, and
that's right.
Chris Evans just happens to be driving by and catches the cell phone signal, which she's using a landline.
Yep. Hey, the less you think about it, the better.
It's just like so.
It's a ridiculous movie, but in a way, it's fun. See, that's where you're talking about Blood Lake. That sounds boring, but Cellular, because it's so ridiculous, it's still pretty fun.
Yeah. And even like they capture Statham at the end by making a phone call to his pocket.
That's right. Yeah. Oh fuck! That's that movie in a while.
And then War is Statham versus Jet Li.
Yep.
And it has this twist at the end, which is like, wow, that's so elaborate.
Yep.
His partner, who he thought was dead,
got face surgery.
Changed his face, changed his voice, and then went through. So anyway, Jason Statham and Jet Li or some other character were cop buddy partners. Jason Statham's buddy gets murdered by the Yakuza, or so he thinks, and then he vows vengeance.
Number one, steady hand.
Statham vows vengeance. He spends he dissolves his marriage, ruins his life trying to track down these guys, which is weird because by the end of the movie you find out that he was in on the murder.
Yeah.
And he's the bad guy.
Whoa, spoilers!
And then he tries to save his partner from getting assassinated, and then it's like the weirdest staged
yeah.
Did he get shot? I don't know.
It's a weird movie.
But everything leading up to that is just scene after scene of just Yakuza gang violence, just people killing each other. So it felt so long. Oh, and then I also forgot to write on here. I watched Law Abiding Citizen with Gerard Butler and Jamie Foxx.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And that movie's so ridiculous too. That was also a How'd This Get Made one. So Gerard Butler's family gets murdered by just 2 kind of thug guys, and they get caught and sentenced to prison. I was working, so I wasn't paying too close attention. But basically, he's upset because justice isn't served. They don't. One guy does get the death penalty, but the other one goes free. Mm-hmm. And so after some time passes, he starts to go on a vigilante rampage. So the guy who's on death row, somehow he was able to switch the formula for
the lethal injection.
So it's really painful and violent for him. And then he tracks down and kidnaps the other guy by pretending to be a police officer by knocking out a police officer and stealing his cop car. Yeah, and then he kidnaps his accomplice and then murders him in a Saw-style fashion where he paralyzes him and then dismembers him and like holds a mirror over him so he can see himself getting
You
dismembered.
spent your whole life killing people.
Yeah, pretty much. And then finally Gerard Butler does get caught for doing that. And then it was on purpose because he's orchestrating everything from inside the prison somehow. And then Jamie Foxx has to spend like the rest of the movie trying not to get other people killed. And then
So Gerard Butler's the bad guy.
yeah, and you eventually find out, and here's like the most ridiculous thing is like he's a criminal who actually tunneled into prison because that's how he's been doing all this is by sneaking out through his cell because he's already like tunneled under the prison.
Oh.
And he has he owns the warehouse right next door to the prison, which has all of his like Saw style contraptions and things.
So he just randomly showed up in a cell, and the guy's like, "Okay, new guy."
He tunneled under all the cells, so like no matter where they put him, he was like ready to go.
Wow.
Even solitary.
Wow.
Really elaborate and
Super elaborate.
A lot to do in like a year.
Yeah, good for him.
Like the tunnel is even like minecart sized, you know.
How did he not hit any pipes or
anyone heard it
Yeah.
or did it all himself? So yeah, and like pretty much the whole movie is just like dialogue about. It feels like the writer has like a very specific ideology about how the criminal justice system works, and it's a bit unrealistic. But he's trying to take it down. That's what his whole thing is. He's trying to take down the system. So, and then the last thing I watched was the original Hellboy. I watched The Golden Army, I think last year first, and then this one was I'll talk about it later. Is I found this one like the production design really creative, even though the story is just kind of like, well, there's this evil version of there's this Rasputin, and he just kind of wants to take over the world, and then Hellboy's a part of it. So all the creature effects are cool, but there's some CGI that's pretty outdated.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I watched this week.
Cool. This week on Real Nerds Podcast, we saw Hellboy. Brad, should people see Hellboy?
I don't know. Obviously, earlier I said I watched Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy for the first time, and I found that one to be, like, production design wise, more imaginative and creative. I feel like what's his name does a good job as Hellboy.
David Harbour.
David Harbour. So he's entertaining, but like overall, some of the effects are pretty bad, and the story was kind of almost too much all at once. So I was constantly like, "Oh, we're going here now, we're going there now." So I think if you're a fan of it, I've never read the comics either, so I don't know if it's the correct tone. But I felt like the Guillermo del Toro one felt more like a comic book movie. And this one just kind of feels like they're just trying to put everything, like throwing everything at a wall and hoping it works. So,
yeah.
I think if you're a fan, it's worth going to see. But if you're a casual person, you'll probably be like put off like I am.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. There's some really fun moments in it. I think the violence is really cool.
Yeah, that's actually cool.
And the director's really fun. It's Neil Marshall, so he did Dog Soldiers and The Descent. So he knows how to do like horror. And yeah, it just seems that there's a lot of him going from place to place, getting exposition told to him, and then him fighting some monster. So it's really story heavy, but it's told in a way where it's just, oh, here's where you are now. We're at the Temple of Osiris or whatever, the Osiris guys, and then he has to fight giants after they tell him what he's doing. So it's really, yeah, it's all right. Rent it. Here's a trailer for Hellboy.
On an island off the coast of Scotland, something was summoned from the depths of hell. Something that would end mankind.
And this thing you worried about, did it show up?
Oh, yes. You did.
We face every threat there is, and yet you take me in. Hello, son. Made me a goddamn weapon.
Where's my fucking violin?
Listen up, ladies and gentlemen. Out there's a 5th century sorceress who wants to bring down the curtain on London and the world.
Great. Homework.
Why do you fight for those who hate and fear you? You were meant for this. Out of the ashes, New Eden will emerge.
Okay, I'd appreciate a prophecy with more relatable stakes.
Haven't we got to be saving the world or something?
Yeah, okay, come on. Let's get your game face on. Yeah, come on, let's do this.
Be my king. We belong together, you and I.
We do, but this is not gonna work, you know, because I'm a Capricorn and you're fucking nuts!
Hellboy opens with an exposition scene telling about the Blood Queen, Mia Jovovich.
And that's not the only exposition. It feels like there's a bunch of different stories
Mhm.
being told by different characters.
Yeah.
Almost like they're vignettes in a comic book.
Because even they have like scenes where the one lady can talk to dead people, and then the dead people give exposition about what's happening, and those effects were horrible.
Ugh.
They looked straight out of Ghostbusters 2, where you forgive Ghostbusters 2 because it's from that time, but you don't forgive a movie from 2019.
No, that effect is very similar to actually in the other Hellboy I watched, where like his hand is CGI at times, you can tell, and which is weird because there's so many other great practical effects. Like the Pig Man.
Oh, I thought the Pig Man was awesome.
Yeah, like that was great, but they obviously blew out the budget on that. So,
but then they, he was really cool at the beginning. Then they made him super big, and then he looked super CG. And then, spoilers, when Daniel Day Kim's character turned into a were jaguar, his CGI was awful. But in it, Hellboy's just trying to stop the end of the world, and he realizes that he is the reason there's the end of the world. So,
and that's the other thing that has the Arthurian legend always been combined with Hellboy?
I have no idea,
because that wasn't in the other movies.
I have read a Lobster Johnson comic.
That was fun.
Yeah, so Lobster Johnson is cool.
I want to see that movie.
Yeah, I want to see a Lobster Johnson movie for sure.
Sandman.
Yeah, and Thomas Hayden Church knows exactly what kind of character he's playing, so it's pretty awesome. Yeah, they kind of tell his origin again. Ian McShane is always good, but he's really just given exposition again.
Yeah. And also, I was sitting there halfway through the movie being like, they're telling the origin story again, which doesn't need to, it's so little of the movie. Mm-hmm. Why do it at all? Especially
when it's told halfway through the movie.
Yeah. And then, you've got this whole other plot. Why couldn't it have just been, a third Hellboy movie?
Yeah. Agreed.
Could have been the same universe. Just could have been a sequel.
But yeah, I really like the Pig Man in it. And I like that he was replaced by fairies, and he was a little pig monster at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And he's just pissed because he had a chance to be in a real family, and he's not anymore. But yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. In the Osiris Club, that was genuinely surprising.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not sure what it...
But I don't know why they're turning on him. It didn't make any sense.
Or why do we need a scene, of him being double-crossed and then fighting giants, because it doesn't really connect with Mila Jovovich's story.
Yeah, because, too, they're taking him there... Because, obviously, the giants are still a threat, but they let him on a ruse to kill him, but then the giants are still around, and they end up killing all the Osiris guys. It was really bizarre.
Yeah.
But, Mila Jovovich looks great. How old is she now? 40-something? She still looks like she's 20-something.
Yeah.
She looks great. And, she really has nothing to do in it. She just says things.
Yeah.
But her death at the beginning's awesome.
Yeah.
Where she gets chopped into pieces. The violence and gore is pretty sweet because it's really over the top.
Yeah, especially the finale when the giant, the other, monster giants are just they're stepping on people and
they use them as skewers and stuff. It's pretty sweet. And those monsters are really creative. There's that one that was split all the way down, was really cool. And then I guess just because Hellboy grabbed it, then they can run free. But when he decides to kill the Blood Queen, then they just go away. Okay, not this time.
Also, that one knocks over London Bridge.
Yeah.
And when you fix everything, the streets get repaired,
mm-hmm.
the portals to hell. So I'm like, did the London Bridge go like back together after that?
Yeah.
Like, how's that work?
Do the people who were killed just magically show back up, and they're like, "Oh, that was weird."
Oh, and there's another deviation, the whole Baba Yaga stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just serves so that he has a explanation of why he knows where she's going to be at.
Yeah.
Like that could be in the books or something.
But he could have put that. He could have just asked his dad.
Yeah.
Obviously, his dad knew. But I mean, the character design was sweet in that. Like
the effect of that was good. Yeah.
Yeah. So that part was really cool. But you only wanted his eye. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah. It was just extra stuff.
Yeah. It seemed padded.
I guess because of the end, it's going to feed into a sequel.
Yeah, it seems padded, but also a lot's missing from it. Because they even have that scene where they go to get Merlin, and the witch who turned on her first is talking over everything. But if you watch Hellboy and his comrades, they're still having dialogue. So it's almost like, oh, we need to put this in here to tell people what's going on because we're going to trim this scene down tons.
Yeah, they probably changed their dialogue in the edit, and they didn't record it very well.
I mean, if you've been reading online, there's a big thing about how they had lots of problems in this production.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
So.
And then also it was weird when he does meet the girl who can talk to dead people. It's a funny gag where she's got the shotgun under the counter for him, but then they get under the counter, and then the room gets invaded, and it's just his dad. Why'd they storm that place? They know she lives there.
Yeah, just really weird. And yeah, Daniel Day Kim's Jaguar Man looked horrible. But I mean, I thought some of the action was shot really cool when he was fighting the giants. It never cut. I mean, obviously there's cuts there, but they made it look like it was just one long take.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when they go to Chernobyl or something, when they're doing a Kickstart My Heart, it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I wish I had more than that. Because a lot of the fights would start with just the most generic heavy metal music ever. Yeah, we get it. He's bad.
So yeah.
That's where I'm at with that one. I'm trying to think of something that's really stuck out that's really bad, but it just exists for me.
Yeah, like I said, there's just too much going on for me to keep track of. It's
a rental. I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's as horrible as people are saying it is, but it's definitely not good.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff in it, but overall it seems messy.
Yeah, it seems like there's another hour that's missing from this film.
Yeah.
And it's already super fat.
Bloated. Yeah. So what are we seeing next week?
I don't know. I was either thinking The Missing Link or Pet Sematary.
Yeah, James is all about Missing Link, so...
Yeah, so probably Missing Link. I know Bree's been talking about getting on the show, so I'll see what he wants to see.
Oh, good. Haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, well, he also wanted to do a Jason Takes Manhattan commentary, which I think would be really fun.
Nice.
So I'll talk to Bree and see if he wants to show up, and then we'll let him pick the film. But I guess right now we'll say Missing Link. And,
Pet Sematary.
Or Pet Sematary. Like I said, it's week before Avengers, so they're not really putting anything out.
Yeah.
Or we can see Breakthrough. God, with your Holy Spirit, save my son.
I forgot I have advance tickets to that.
Do you really?
No.
I always laugh at the part where there's the firefighter who saved him. He said, I could feel a voice telling me he's down there. And his old, wise lieutenant says, that's the voice of God, son. Well, I don't believe in God. It cuts. Oh, my God. Why do they... It's cool if you want to have religious movies, but why do they make them so... They pander so much to the people? You know what I mean?
Just riling up your fan base, I guess.
I guess. Marish. What is Topher Grace doing in it?
Paycheck?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, till next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Real Nerds Podcast. Real Nerds Podcast is a production of Nebulous Visions Multimedia. Thank you to Sparks Mandrill and Plan 9 Studios for our kick-ass theme song. Also, if you're in the Denver area and you're looking for a cool place to see movies, we see them at the Alamo Draft House in Littleton and now also in Sloan's Lake. Thank you to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics for supplying us with all our comic needs, especially you, Andrew. You know who you are. And a big shout out to James's mom. I'm giving you an electronic hug that you can feel through the airwaves. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day.